I love the flavor.
That's spot on.
I love that.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. If you missed Batman the Animated Series and wanted a continuation of it, well boy do I have it for you in the form of The Caped Crusader. With Bruce Timm at the helm of both of the series, you can feel the similarities ooze off of both adaptations. The flow and pace of the episodes are very similar. Same thing with the designs, the music, and the dialogue. To the point that you could put a newcomer into a seat and make them watch both series back to back, and they might not be able to tell you which one is the animated series and which one is the Caped Crusader. This is the Caped Crusader's biggest strength, but also its greatest weakness. They feel like the exact same shows, with the biggest difference being the time period. The Caped Crusader is set in the 40s, 50s, 60s, one of those, at least based on the architecture, fashion, and the designs around the city. But you wouldn't know the time period based on the world building. There is no racism, there's no homophobia, and there's very little sexism, with a little bit of it being hinted at within the first 3 episodes, but then being completely dropped later in the season. Everyone is basically treated the exact same way, with the only difference being some classism. Now, this isn't a problem in and of itself, but there is the issue of feeling like you're not using the most of the time period. You just wanted to use the look in order to get some attention. Even the lack of cell phones isn't that big of a deal. I swear, some of the phone cords in this show were so absurdly long that I was laughing. I mean, come on. If you're going to do this time period, at least do a little bit more world building. Is this the end-all be-all? Does it really matter? Does it ruin the show? No. But it is a nitpick that I was thinking every single episode that I watched.
Do you think I look good, Mr. Armstrong?
Kiss me. You didn't hear that. Hear what? Nothing to hear. Okay.
This might sound like I'm being hypercritical of the show, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I thought they tied everything together very well by the final episode. There was some actual character development, some relationship changes, and real consequences to the story. It was a good start to a series that they're probably hoping will run for a long time. There was a little bit of first season syndrome, but they made it work in the end, especially with the character designs, especially with the designs of Barbara Gordon and Catwoman. Bruce Timm understood the assignment with those two. I will be looking forward to the next season, but maybe you should do an extra rewrite before you start animating everything. Especially in the middle, there was a lot of tell, not show with Two-Face, and there were a lot of dumbing down and plot holes with the Harley Quinn episode. But everything was fixed in the second half. Basically, from episode 6 onward, they got their footing. I really like the supernatural elements. I'm not going to spoil anything, but those were some of my favorite episodes. And I like the development of Jim Gordon and Detective Montoya's relationship with Batman, going from antagonistic to being more friendly and understanding of what he's trying to do. And I also really like this version of Barbara Gordon. She's a defense attorney constantly clashing with her father and other people in terms of ideology. And also that character design. Well done, Bruce Timm. Well done.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
There will be comparisons to the animated series for as long as the Caped Crusader goes on, especially with the voice acting. The new guy, not nearly as good as Kevin Conroy. Sorry, but what you gonna do? You're not going to beat the greatest of all time, and the show brought in these comparisons by using the nostalgia from the past in order to bring you in and get some eyeballs on the show, and they were hoping that the new stuff would gain enough interest for them to keep going. It was a fun start, one best enjoyed with a glass of whiskey in your hand, because come on, we all know who this show was made for. This was made for the old school fans. Kids can watch it, there's not a lot of cussing or bloodshed in it, but still, this was about bringing in the old fans from the animated series, and it did accomplish just that. It was a fun ride, and I'm very interested to see where they're going, but they might need to do a few changes and tweaks if they don't want to live under the shadow of the animated series for the rest of the Caped Crusader's existence. Change the pacing just a little bit, do different perspectives, do different camera angles, do something different just to forge your own identity. Otherwise, you're just going to be known as the lesser version of the animated series. And because I want to do a bit of speculating and predictions for the future, there will be spoilers from here on out. You have your warning. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So they're bringing in the Joker, which is funny because right before they showed his scene, I thought, I guess they're not going to rely on him. Oh, there he is. It reminds me of Arkham Origins. They really cannot have Batman versus the mob for long. And here I was hoping that they'd bring in Black Mask to have him be the main antagonist later, but here we are. I really hope that they don't overuse the Joker next season. Maybe have him in 1 or 2 episodes, but don't have him be the main focus. I still think it should be Batman versus the mob and then versus the corruption of the city. And I hope that all of the other villains that show up in the next season is a direct result of Thorne recruiting them to stop Batman. I think that'd be a nice change of pace. For example, they already showed Killer Croc. Have him be out of a job because the carnival was closed after what happened with Batman and the energy vampire. Waylon Jones can't find a job because of his condition, so he's forced to go to Thorne, who injects him with different serums to make him more crocodile-like. He's a bigger threat to Batman, but also it worsens his condition and makes him more monstrous, making his rage turn against Thorne. Then Batman is forced to save Thorne from Killer Croc. It would show an interesting dynamic between Batman and the people that he's fighting. That's just one idea. But also, and I would like to emphasize this a lot, do not have Harley Quinn interact with the Joker next season and say something stupid like, what an asshole. I feel bad for any woman that falls in love with him. That will piss a lot of people off. Don't do it.
That's a little version of me, Alan. I want you to have it.
I don't really want this.
I would also very much like serious interpretations of Professor Pig, Anarchy, and Hush. Come on, you can do it. You're on Amazon. You can get away with basically anything. Look at The Boys. You can do dark, messed up, and creepy. Go a lot further than the animated series. That'd be a good way to differentiate yourself. Speaking of which, why is this on Amazon and not on HBO Max? Why is WBD so bad at this? It's something funny that I keep running into. You have DC Comics and Looney Tunes. Why aren't you making money? It just blows my mind. But to be fair, maybe Batman the Caped Crusader is only as good as it is because it's on Amazon and not on Max. Just saying. Oh, and for everyone calling it woke and DEI because the first 3 episodes focus on the female characters, they did that because they need to establish these new versions of these characters. You already care about Batman and James Gordon, but you don't care about the new versions of Barbara Gordon, Detective Montoya, and this version of Catwoman. All 3 of those female characters are interesting, have their own personalities, their own goals, and they're not complete badasses who never make a mistake. They feel like real people who need Batman's help. So grifters, get out of here with them. They're good characters. Go away. The reason the first season stumbled in the middle is because they went from the establishing episodes to the overarching story. Although I will admit I didn't particularly like the Harley Quinn episode all that much. Everyone seemed a lot dumber. There were some plot holes about like why no one was questioning these billionaires giving up their money and then disappearing. For some reason, knockout gas works on Batman sometimes, but not other times. And also this version of Harley Quinn didn't really feel like Harley Quinn. She felt more lawful evil instead of chaotic evil. She lacked her personality, her colors, her blonde hair, her style, her everything. It did not feel a whole lot like Harley Quinn. It felt more like Hugo Strange within Harley Quinn. I'm just saying, I don't think this is going to be everyone's favorite version of her. I did really like these 2 versions of Catwoman and Two-Face though. I thought a spoiled Selina was very funny, and also Two-Face was really good at the end with his contrasting personalities. It was very well done. I like the politeness into the harshness. My favorite scene with Selina was when she kissed Batman and he pretended to shake it off, but you could tell that it got to him a little bit because she did get the jump on him in the end. And with Two-Face, I really liked when Bruce visited him in Arkham, and for a split second, the Batman personality seeped off of Bruce. I really liked the parallels between them. It was very well done. I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of good, and there's a lot of ways that they can go now. It just depends on what they want. They could stumble and fall on their face, they could just remain in the shadow of the animated series forever, or they can branch out and become their own unique version of Batman. Only time will tell, but overall, thumbs up. You're welcome to disagree with all this, that's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Good night, everybody!
Do not despair.